僕たちデジタルワールドに来たんだ。
Digimon Story Time Stranger is the second game in the Reboot sub-series. I like it, but admittedly I'm a bit tepid on it. Follow along with me. You play as Dan or Kanan Yuki, an agent of the Men in Black organization Adamas, in charge of going after and eliminating threats from phase electron lifeforms, which is a fancy technical term for Digimon. After a cataclysmic event called the Shinjuku Inferno is triggered, you are flung back in time by 8 years, with a mission to prevent it from happening again. As luck would have it, you find the chosen child Inori Misono taking care of the legendary Digimon Agilmon, and then get flung back into the digital world of Iliad. Something is amiss, however, in the battle against the Titans, and you have to re-explore after you're flung back into the future to your present day. Time Stranger is, in all but story, a follow-up to Cyber Sleuth, and there's a ton to compare with. I like a lot of the changes, but others I'm a little unhappy with. The farm is back, but instead of having up to 5 individual farms to do one task per farm, you can devote a single Digimon at a time to a training task. Development is completely independent. Training can also change a Digimon's personalities, which in turn can affect what passive ability they get. Speaking of, passive abilities are no longer tied to specific Digimon. Any Digimon can get any ability, so as much as Marine Angemon is worth it for her healing, anyone else can use the Soothing Song ability to recover SP every round. And one of the biggest fundamental differences I can think of between Cyber Sleuth and Time Stranger? There's no more piercing attacks. Now, Lilithmon's Phantom Pain is an AoE that poisons enemies and prevents healing, among other things. This does mean that you're not as pigeonholed into using specific Digimon to play through on hard mode, but it does mean you have to optimize fairly early on. Expect to stuff your Digimon in the farm for late game optimization pretty frequently. New additions include a stat called SPI, which affects your support skills and is essentially Intelligence Defense. ABI is now called Talent and only affects how far you can level your Digimon. Restorative stats now scale with SPI, so if you take Soothing Song or Prayer for Aid as an ability, you don't need to have as high a talent stat. The translations and localization benefit from not having been done in the final hour. Everything makes sense for one. Lessons were also learned in presentation with overall less weighty dialogue and generally better overall presentation. However, localization is as weird as ever, considering that we have Gallantmon and Leopardmon, but now Lord Nightmon? I'd love some consistency. Make him Dukemon and Duftmon, damn it. The world design is also nice, but it's kind of underwhelming at best, confusing at worst, especially in the forest area. Regardless, it's nice to be in the digital world of Iliad instead of Yggdrasil. Again. This all being said, this game is rife with greed. First off, it's already overly monetized to hell. Getting money and XP for your Digimon is difficult, especially early on, and it's very easy to get hit with a progression block. Yet on launch, 3 outer dungeons were made available for $15 US that made experience, cash, and materials farming trivial. This was not included in a pre-order and was instead presented as Day 1 DLC. The cynicism and greed was not lost on fans, however, and most of it has been review bombed. That content includes costumes, which I'm honestly disappointed by. They could have all been earned in-game, even the Cyber Sleuth stuff. The only reason I could run around in Ami's clothes was because I pre-ordered the digital deluxe edition for the season pass, knowing it'd be cheaper to do it that way than to purchase it later. In-game, you also have a music replacer option which affects all areas as they're classed. However, in my opinion, that detracts from all the good music in the game. Honestly, I don't know why you'd consider replacing it. I mean, listen to this! When this song first plays, it's amazing. It's just sudden power metal. So many other tracks make for good ambient music too. I'm definitely adding these to my bike riding playlists. The DLC includes the Cyber Sleuth OST for $10 and the Japanese anime openings and endings from over the years for $20. It doesn't add anything meaningful, and it's only really there to exploit your nostalgia. I hold a lot of nostalgia for Digimon, but none of it is worth spending extra on a game I already spent about $80 on, and even then, I think I overpaid. That and the soundtracks are incomplete. My favorite track off Hacker's Memory isn't even in the Cyber Sleuth package. Though, getting back to Time Stranger, the best thing about it is probably the story. The Chosen Children aren't an ensemble this time. It's really just one, that being Inori Misono. Yuki is an adult by contrast, but a chosen child they are not. The ensemble cast of Digimon and the Apostles of Iliad are also characters in their own right, and you end up being in the middle of an all-out, all-sides war about halfway through the game. The cast of human characters are nothing to snub your nose at either, especially with Dr. Monica Simmons, and everything about the story is great, but, late game of the Japanese dub, there's a huge problem with some characters' lines being unvoiced at random. You'll have characters speaking in a cutscene, then they're silent when it ends and they have continuing dialogue. It's kind of jarring. The English dub has more dubbed lines, but it suffers from similar problems early on. They have a cast of solid VAs, but... This dub is just torturous. I have so many questions about its direction, especially because of the game's cast. They've got some solid VAs from the Hoyoverse lineup, like Allegra Clark, Amberly Connors, and Molly Zhang, and seasoned voiceover artists and VAs like Dorothy Elias Fawn and Kyle Hebert. So this isn't on the actors, not by a long shot. Oh, to be a fly on the wall at the dubbing studio. So, overall, I like it, but I'm a bit tepid on it. It's absolutely a great game for the story, but the price doesn't justify it. Wait for a sale, and especially for a complete edition. Digimon Story Time Stranger is out now for $70 USD, and it's available on Xbox Series consoles, PlayStation 5, and on PC through Steam with Steam Deck verification. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and drop a like on it. Got anything you want to say? Say it. Go ahead and comment. Want to see more of what I've got? Subscribe and hit the bell so you know when I'm uploading next. And if you want to support me more, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. Until next time.